Hi everyone, my name's Caitlin Choquette.
Hi, I'm Dennis.
Yeah, and this is Dennis, and we're standing outside of the Mushroom Hub in Walkerville. So Dennis, do you want to tell us a little bit about your establishment?
Yeah, so we're in the exotic and wild mushroom and truffle store, and under our roof you can come and explore the power of mushrooms in the magical kingdom of fungi.
All right, so here we are in the kitchen of the Mushroom Hub, and Dennis is over here. He's going to be cooking up a new mushroom dish to show us. So why don't you tell us what you've got in the front here, all these beautiful mushrooms?
Well, here we have all mushrooms here from Windsor, Essex. These particular chestnuts, golden oysters, and the famous lion's mane are all grown here in Walkerville, here at our facility. And then these beautiful chicken of the woods are actually foraged here in our county in Windsor, Essex. So we're going to be adding it to our dish as a surprise mushroom.
Awesome.
So we'll be focusing on veggies that we picked up from the Downtown Windsor Farmers Market, of course. We picked up all the goodies from Bouchard Gardens. And then at the same time, we're going to be utilizing shiitake mushrooms as well as the chicken of the woods to just do something.
Awesome, sounds great. So how long does it take to grow something like that?
So depends on which part of the process, but for us here, as early as 9 days all the way up to 22 days.
And that's, you said, is grown right here in Walkerville.
Right here in Walkerville, about a couple of footsteps from here.
That's incredible.
I'm actually covering the bottom of the pan with the soup stock, so I use mushroom broth.
Yeah.
I will sometimes utilize, I'm just cooking up here a fresh batch of chaga tea. I will sometimes use that as something of boiling with mushrooms. And then at the same time, I will be sometimes just water.
Now, is there any trick to combining different mushrooms, or is it kind of just, whatever you feel like that day, or do you find some of the flavors go better than others with the different types?
Definitely. I find that, when you have the ability, to mix up the different varieties, I would never go, 2 or 3 different wilds in one dish. I would go one exotic and one wild in a dish. But it also depends on which types, right? So this mushroom here is a little bit more, it's nutty, it's fruity, it's a beautiful mushroom for something like a pasta dish, like a very creamy pasta dish, where you can actually utilize the caps of it to highlight the meal once it's complete.
Nice.
The golden oysters have a sweet component to them, but they're also very meaty. All oysters across the board are quite meaty mushrooms.
Yeah.
And then the last, which is now sort of one of the most famous mushrooms on our market right now, is the lion's mane mushroom. Now this mushroom has been utilized by chefs to mimic chicken, to mimic veal, to mimic crab, to mimic a variety of different meats that we're utilizing in day-to-day cooking. So I wouldn't be mixing, I would mix the golden oyster with the chicken of the woods, or the golden oyster with the chestnuts, but I wouldn't go with the chickens and the chestnuts, maybe because it's a little bit too much of a sweet component amongst the both. So I have here a variety of different peppers, as well as our sweet corn from the county.
Now, if you just had someone that is just used to the standards, say, the white button mushrooms, what would you say is like a first good gourmet mushroom to try out, to experiment with or explore?
To those people, I would never suggest any of this.
Okay.
To them, I would only suggest step a little bit further into the kingdom and try the cremini mushroom.
Yeah.
And then so all the dishes that you cook with the white button, cook it with the cremini mushroom too, and you will see for that little price difference how much more value and texture and flavor you're going to get in that dish. So these are the shiitake mushrooms. So they come up with stems like this. I pull the stems off, and then I just break the mushroom like that. This is one of my favorite mushrooms, super versatile. You can find it in any store. But this is a step. So after the cremini is the portobello, then probably a blue oyster. When people get into wild mushrooms for the first time, they think that it's as easy as adding a white button mushroom. It's not. We actually all have different reactions to different mushrooms. Okay. So for example, if you were to eat a lot of the chicken of the woods, Some people will have incredible stomach aches if eaten too much.
Okay.
So I always suggest to people when they're trying any mushroom past the white button cremini portobello, do not consume half a pound or a pound in a setting. Don't do that, right? It's not good for you because you may have a reaction which is not a bad reaction.
Yeah.
Your body needs a time to get used to it. So always ease into every mushroom, right?
And that makes sense, right? If you think about, the gut and the different microbes that we all have, it's going to take time to adjust to any new food, especially all different types of mushrooms, right? So do you find most people with time and doing it gradually, they can, adapt pretty well to...
For sure.
Yeah.
This is that chicken of the woods. Now, chicken of the woods here, this particular one is, and you will see it if you go foraging here in the county, and when you go foraging, make sure you're foraging with somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yes.
This is one of the most identifiable mushrooms within our county that you can see from a good portion away. So when I'm driving through the county, I'm always looking left and right because this thing will pop up from like 50 yards out.
You'll see that
you will
driving
see
by.
it. Oh, 100%. I've stopped multiple times. Research out of Asia came out and showcased that this has over 280% of vitamin D per 100 grams of serving.
Wow.
So what happens with these wild mushrooms is they're cut off a tree, right? And so you'll notice here it has tree, right? Tree bark right on it, right? We do the best that we can to slice up as much as possible, but you definitely want to, play with her. The one thing that you got to watch out with the chicken is that our little bugs love them.
Oh.
So do not be surprised. Whatever wild mushroom you're going to consume, do not be surprised that if you find a bug or two.
Yeah.
And so that's why with chickens, especially like when you see a little bit of a dark spot, you always think, oh, that's when she came in. And then you look through just to make sure that, there isn't a bug in there.
Oh, okay.
But it is natural protein, so...
So it's going to be cooked?
Yeah. So what I'm doing here is actually, I just added a little bit of salt and pepper. This is only mushrooms, shiitake caps. The stems are here. I'm not utilizing the stems this time around, but I'm going to actually I'm actually making a soup stock in the coming days. And I will be utilizing the stems here for that soup stock. Otherwise, if I was to using them in my dish, I would take this stem and I would dice it up like green onion because the shiitake stems are very, see how they are like little, how do you call them? Like little strings?
Yeah. Strings.
So they will get caught in your teeth. So not a really good, friendly first aid component. So in this pan here, what I'm doing is I'm actually boiling the mushrooms out. And so all mushrooms are 85 to 95% water, right? And so when people would cook mushrooms and they would cook them straight into like high heat and olive oil, the olive oil, the mushrooms actually suck up that olive oil.
Right.
So what I do first is, and I don't do this every time, but sometimes when I'm cooking like in this style, I will drown the mushrooms into a soup stock, water, or my chaga tea, and I will boil it out. Okay. So on high heat, I'm going to bring it to boil. It's going to completely boil out all that water and the stock. And the moment that it completely boils out, I will keep it like that for another 30 seconds, and then I'll combine it with something else. So here, I've been making I'm a big fan of our local sweet corn from the county.
Oh, yeah.
So any chance during the summertime where I could cook with them? Yeah. I love them. I love to steam them and boil them. But also in cooking, I can, like with ours from the county, you can actually just strip it off the cob, just cut it off the cob and cook with it. And I love the juiciness and simplicity of it. And they highlight the dish so well, and especially here with the chickens as well. So we're gonna get the chickens to boil out. Now, I'm a spicy guy, so I utilize some of the spicy peppers here from Bouchard Gardens. But I also I'm a big fan of different, growing up in Asia, I've got in touch with a lot of different Asian spices.
Yeah.
This one here can be found in any Asian store. It's the chili garlic sauce.
Oh yeah.
I always have one or two. I never run out of it.
That sauce has a cult following.
Yes.
I've seen the documentary.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's super versatile. I just put it enough to, just when they're about to be pre-boiled, I like to mix them up with that way that you're getting an aftertaste of it.
Yeah.
When you're cooking with mushrooms, you're treating it like a meat, right? So mushrooms are meat of the forest. And so you're treating it in the same component. The thicker the mushroom, the longer you're going to cook her. Also, depending on which way you're going to go. If you're pan frying a mushroom, so like chicken of the woods, I would pan fry her exactly like I would chicken, right? The same exact component, and you will get the exact same return on it. It's just this is a.
So yeah, when I'm cooking meat, I've gotten into using like a meat thermometer, so I know exactly when it's done, right? To the
Yes.
right, you know.
And funny
so
enough,
how would you say with mushrooms? Like, what are you looking for?
So different mushrooms have different, and also different ways that you're going to cook her. But the way that I see in all my experience across the board, I would say that a rare mushroom is 3 to 4 minutes. So all mushrooms should be cooked a minimum of 3 to 4 minutes on high heat, so that you can break down the cell wall, and then all the nutrients and minerals and vitamins that are within mushrooms are then going to be bioavailable for you. If you don't cook them, you're eating a raw mushroom doesn't give you enough of that because it's not bioavailable. A lot of people can't process the chitin, right, the cell wall. So it is always recommended, you should always, even the gnocchis, which a lot of people put on top of their chow mans or whatever, right, or salads, just 2, 3, 4 minutes on high heat, a little bit of salt and pepper, and you don't need the salt and pepper, but like olive oil, and just a quick. And then that's a raw mushroom that's broken down their cell wall, and you can consume it and get the nutrients out of it. So now that all the water has evaporated, we've boiled her within. She's not as hard. She's easier to bite down on, but she's also equally she's taken in all the flavor profiles. So with this right now, I would make rice. I would make pasta, anything that I can clobber things together. Sometimes I'll take taco shells and do tacos. Sometimes I will slap it on top of different things. But then sometimes I will package all of this individually and then mix it up with, let's say, an omelet in the morning or something else down the line where I can also mix and match. Alrighty. So.
Does this stuff work well as leftovers, or is it something you ought to eat right away?
That's the beautiful part, is that all of the foods that I create with like this meal here, I can sometimes eat that for 7 days straight without any trouble.
Wow.
Some people like reheating the mushroom component, or they'll just put it in a pan, really heat it up real quick. I personally love just straight out of the fridge cold, and then I enjoy it that way. If you'd like to try.
Okay, I'll try some,
Please.
So does this dish have a name? Or is this Denis special?
That's it.
The mush hub special?
It's the dish of today. It's the dish of today.
All right.
Where's my gun?
Get some mushroom on there.
I haven't even tried it. Usually they'll say that a chef needs to try first. I'm not even a chef.
I took the honor. It's really good, Denis. I can taste the spice in there with the mushrooms.
I really like the simplicity component.